I had just parked my patrol SUV when a scream ripped through the quiet street. It was so raw, so full of terror, that for a split second it didn't even sound human. After a 14-hour shift as police chief, all I wanted was to step inside, hug my wife, and see my daughter Emma. But that scream stopped me cold. Every drop of blood in my body seemed to freeze. Daddy, help. I didn't even bother closing the car door. I ran toward the porch, and what I saw nearly brought me to my knees. My daughter, my 8-year-old Emma, born with a heart so fragile that every single beat felt like a miracle, was chained to our porch railing. A thick steel chain, industrial grade, wrapped tightly around her small waist, secured with a heavy padlock. She was on her knees on the wooden boards, her face flushed deep red, drenched in sweat. Her lips were turning from pink to blue. Her chest rose and fell in desperate, uneven gasps. Her portable heart monitor was screaming, that sharp, terrifying alarm every parent of a heart patient dreads. Distress, danger, collapse. Emma. I dropped beside her, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Baby, who did this? What happened? She tried to lift her head. Daddy, can't breathe. Hurts? Her fingers curled weakly over her shirt, right above the scar from her last open-heart surgery. Her breaths came shallow and panicked. Then the monitor's alarm grew louder, more urgent. Her heart was failing. I grabbed the chain and pulled with everything I had. It didn't budge. Bolted straight through the railing. Solid steel. I pulled again until my hands burned, until my muscles screamed. Nothing. I snatched my radio. This is Chief Ramirez. I need an ambulance at my address now. And bring bolt cutters. Move. Emma started crying, each sob stealing more of her oxygen. Daddy, the lady, she said I was bad. She put the chains on me. What lady? Baby, who? I leaned closer so she wouldn't have to strain. The HOA lady, Mrs. Harrington. My heart stopped. Diana Harrington, president of our HOA. A woman who treated authority like oxygen. A woman who had made half the neighborhood miserable. And she had chained my medically fragile little girl outside in 95-degree heat. Stay with me, Emma. I whispered, brushing sweat from her forehead. Daddy's here. Look at me, sweetheart. Keep your eyes open. Her eyelids fluttered. Her breathing hitched. Then she went limp. No, Emma. I laid her flat and started CPR, counting compressions through tears I could barely see through. My hands shook so badly I struggled to keep rhythm. Come on, baby, come back to me, please. The front door burst open. My wife Jessica's scream tore through the air when she saw the chain. Emma, oh my God. Rob, what happened? Call 911 again. I shouted, tell them she's crashing. Jessica dropped beside us, sobbing as I kept compressions going. 30 beats. 2 breaths. 30 beats. My arms burned. My vision blurred. The only thing holding me upright was the desperate hope that my daughter would breathe again. My patrol units arrived first. Rodriguez and Quinn jumped out, bolt cutters already in hand. Chief, move. Rodriguez snapped the chain with one crushing bite of metal. I didn't stop CPR as the chain fell away. The ambulance screeched to a halt seconds later. Paramedics rushed in, taking over compressions. And then I heard the words that shattered something deep inside me. No pulse. Preparing epinephrine. They loaded Emma into the ambulance, still pumping her chest, still fighting for a heartbeat. Jessica climbed in beside her. I stood frozen in the driveway, my hands covered in sweat, tears, and my daughter's fear, staring at the broken chain lying on the ground. And then I saw her, across the street. Diana Harrington stood on her lawn, arms folded, watching everything, the chaos, the panic, with a calm, almost amused expression. Our eyes locked. She smiled, slow, smug, monstrous. Then she turned and walked back into her house, as if nothing had happened, as if she hadn't just nearly killed a child. Something inside me broke. Not anger, not rage. Something colder, sharper, a promise. My name is Robert Ramirez, police chief of Lakewood County, and that woman had just made the biggest mistake of her life. The morning had started peacefully, Emma had woken up excited because her cardiologist had finally approved 30 minutes of sunlight a day. 30 minutes where she could sit outside and feel like a normal kid. She had been born with a severe congenital heart defect. 3 surgeries before she turned 6. A pacemaker, daily medication, a heart so delicate that even minor stress could push her into crisis. But she was strong. My brave girl. The kind who smiled through needles and hospital stays. "Can I read on the porch today?" she asked at breakfast, her heart monitor clipped to her shirt. "As long as Mommy's watching," I said, kissing her forehead. Jessica worked from home, so she could stay with Emma full time. But that morning, she got pulled into an urgent work call and stepped into her office for just 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes while Emma sat outside reading. That's when Diana struck. Later, our neighbor Mrs. Lynn told officers what she saw from her window. Around 10 in the morning, Diana stormed across the street, shouting at Emma for being outside unsupervised. Emma tried to explain. Her mom was inside. She had her heart monitor. She wasn't doing anything wrong. Diana didn't care. She called her a liability, Mrs. Lynn said, her voice shaking. Then she pulled a chain out of her bag, like she brought it with her. She had planned it. She wrapped it around Emma's waist. Before my daughter even understood what was happening, she started crying, telling her she couldn't stay outside long. Diana told her to stop pretending to be sick. Then she padlocked the chain to our railing and walked away. Mrs. Lynn tried to help, but she was elderly and frail. She couldn't even lift the lock. She called 911, but the heat overwhelmed Emma too quickly. By the time Jessica heard the screams, Emma was already collapsing, and I arrived just in time to watch my daughter slip away. At the hospital, Emma was rushed into the ICU and placed on life support for 3 hours. Doctors fought to stabilize her. When Dr. Shaw, her cardiologist since birth, walked out, I already knew the truth from his face. Chief Ramirez, Jessica, Emma suffered severe heat-induced cardiac failure. We've done everything we can. But she's alive? Jessica whispered. For now, he said quietly. But the damage to her heart is extensive. She may need a transplant very soon. Jessica collapsed against me, shaking. She was just reading her book. Dr. Shaw's voice lowered. Whoever restrained her outside, knowing her condition, deliberately put her life in danger. My jaw tightened. It was the HOA president. She chained my daughter to the porch and walked away. His expression hardened. That's attempted murder. And I'll make sure the law agrees. After he left, I stood in the hallway staring at the ICU doors, listening to every machine keeping my daughter alive. Every beat felt like a threat. Every silence felt like death creeping closer. I wasn't just a father anymore. I was a police chief with a target. And her name was Diana Harrington. I stepped outside and called my second-in-command, Captain Reyes. Reyes, drop everything. I want an arrest warrant for Diana Harrington. Charges: aggravated child endangerment, attempted murder, unlawful restraint. Full list coming. There was a pause. Chief, what happened? I told him everything. Every scream. Every chain link. He didn't let me finish. She's done, he said. I'll bring her in myself. And Chief, we do this by the book. No mistakes. That's exactly what I wanted. An airtight case. Next, I called District Attorney Elena Vargas, a prosecutor known for tearing monsters apart in court. Elena, I want maximum charges. No deals. No leniency. Her voice tightened. I'm so sorry about Emma. I promise you, this woman will never see daylight again. For the first time in my 25-year career, I recused myself from the case. I wasn't risking anything being thrown out because of bias. I wanted Diana's conviction to be permanent. She was arrested at 8:04 p.m. Reyes led a full tactical team, not because Diana needed it, but because the entire neighborhood needed to see it. Police lights flooded the street as she stepped out in her robe, irritated, not afraid. This is ridiculous, she snapped. I was enforcing HOA rules. Reyes's voice was cold. The child you chained outside has a severe heart condition and almost died. She scoffed. Oh, that little machine she wears? I thought it was for attention. You saw her heart monitor? Multiple witnesses confirm it. She crossed her arms. I want my lawyer. You'll get one, Reyes said. But understand this. Your victim is a police chief's daughter. You're not walking away from this. Her face finally paled. Her lawyer, Collins, went straight to the media. This was a misunderstanding. My client acted responsibly. The public backlash was immediate. Within 24 hours, more families came forward. She fined us because my autistic son hummed too loud. She demanded we remove my mother's wheelchair ramp. She threatened to sue us because our father needed an oxygen tank outside. Diana had built her power by bullying the vulnerable. Emma was just the first one who almost died. For 5 days, Emma fought in the ICU. 5 days of machines breathing for her. 5 days of Jessica and me reading stories, begging her to wake up. On the third night, her eyes fluttered open. Daddy, she whispered. I grabbed her hand. I'm here, sweetheart. Her eyes filled with tears. Did I break a rule? The lady said I was bad. That broke something in me I can't even describe. No, Angel, I said softly. You did nothing wrong. She did. My heart hurts, she whispered. I know, but the doctors are helping you. But I knew the truth. Later, Dr. Shaw pulled us aside. Her heart has suffered severe trauma. She's now an end-stage failure. We need to list her for a transplant immediately. How long do we have? Jessica asked. Months, maybe less. My daughter's life had been shortened by a woman who cared more about HOA power than human life. And that truth became the foundation of the case. The trial began 8 weeks later. Emma was home, but weak. Oxygen at night. Barely able to walk without resting. She couldn't testify. She didn't need to. The evidence spoke. The courtroom overflowed, journalists, activists, families Diana had tormented for years. Diana sat there looking annoyed, like this was all an inconvenience. Vargas began. An 8-year-old heart patient was chained to a porch in 95-degree heat and left to die. The defendant saw her condition. She saw the heart monitor, and she walked away. She held up photos, before and after, before, Emma smiling, holding her book. After, pale, tubes everywhere. Gasps filled the room. Then came the footage from Mrs. Lynn's door camera. Emma explaining, the monitor beeping, Diana mocking her, calling it fake, pulling out the chain, locking it, walking away. The jury watched in horror. Then came the text message from Diana's phone. Finally going to teach the Ramirez family a lesson. Their sick kid needs to learn she's not special. The courtroom erupted. Even the judge had to pause. Collins tried everything, misunderstanding no intent, but the evidence crushed every argument. Jessica testified, voice shaking. She was just reading her book, and this woman decided that deserved punishment. Then it was my turn. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. You saw my daughter's heart monitor. You heard her explain her condition, and you chained her anyway. Now she faces a transplant she may not survive because you wanted to feel powerful. Diana finally looked afraid. The jury deliberated for 2 hours. On all counts guilty: attempted murder, aggravated child endangerment, unlawful restraint, civil rights violations, premeditation, everything. The judge sentenced her to life without parole. For once, Diana had nothing to say. As officers led her away, she looked back at me. I didn't look away. Justice had been served. Emma is still fighting. We're waiting for a donor heart. Every day is a gift. Every heartbeat is a blessing. Some days she's strong. Some days she can barely sit up. But she's alive, and she knows she did nothing wrong. As for Diana Harrington, she'll spend the rest of her life behind bars, remembering the day she chose the wrong child to hurt. The day she tried to break a little girl, and instead unleash her father, the police chief. Now let me ask you, if you were in my place, what would you have said to that HOA woman? Or better yet, how would you deal with someone like her? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear how you'd handle it.